Today, we're going to be going over the top 11 cards you have to put in your collection. Whether you're an investor or a collector, this list is absolutely perfect for you. Let's get right into it. The first card on our list is, of course, the Rapid Strike Urshifu Vmax from Battle Styles. Battle Styles was the first set to introduce these alt art Pokemon, and right now you can see the price is going for around $70 USD. It had this kind of dip, as you can see a year ago. It was actually pretty low, had this going up, came down, and now it's kind of leveling up. But let's take a look at the PSA 10 report, because right now you can get the PSA 10 for around 160, 219, 150. These are some pretty cheap prices compared to, the card is a $72 card. And some reason the PSA type prices are barely double, even though their grading cost should be like $20 plus another $20 for shipping. I'm just saying the plays on this card are immaculate. Like, as you can see, this card is pretty nice. It's not the most beautiful card in history. It's no Moonbreon, but it's still very, very beautiful. You can see the Cramorant in the background. You can see the Octopus. You can see that there are different Pokemon above. It looks to be Corviknights. This is a very, very nice Pokemon, and it is from the very first set that ever introduced Vmaxes. Let's move on. We have the Galarian Moltres from Chilling Reign. Now, this card is absolutely insane. In my opinion, it is one of the most beautiful cards. Of course, you have the moon in the background. You have the trees under it, and you have these kind of glowing red eyes. That looks absolutely sick. I think Galarian Moltres was actually one of the few Galarian Pokemon that I actually liked in Generation. As you can see, the price has gone down from around 190 all the way to 170. We take it from the 1 year graph. You can see it went from 130 to 200, and now it's going down to 170. But if you take a look at the PSA 10, you can see it's going for 340, 375, 330, 350, 368, 300. So it's around that 310 to like 380 range. It's in that range somewhere, but it's not a crazy price for one of the most beloved Pokemon in the entire era. Like, it's the second chase card of Chilling Reign, and I still believe is very, very undervalued. Let's move on. Zeraora from Chilling Reign. Chilling Reign, again, we're using another card from the set because often I feel like underrated cards come in pairs or trios, because this card is super underrated. As you can see, the price right now is around $58 and had the spike and just decrease, just like with all the alt art Pokemon. But this Zeraora is absolutely beautiful, standing in the mountainous just terrain. You can see there's a tree in the background. There's this dead tree as well. You can see that Zeraora is almost pointing towards it, and it's absolutely beautiful in my opinion. But the crazy part that I actually wanted to share in this video is that the PSA 10 is selling for like $115. You see, this one sold for $180, best offer accepted. $117, $114, $150, $155, $160, $155, $165, $165, $135, $175. Absolutely insane prices for a card that really should be a lot more. And I'm not saying this is going to be a $2,000 card one day. I'm just saying this card doubling is not as hard as maybe the Moonbreon doubling. If you're buying the Moonbreon for your collection, it's a little different. But if you want to make a little bit of bank, or you want to kind of get some money in your collection so you can keep collecting, so you can keep putting money into this and grow your collection, then I do recommend something like a Zeraora, because it is such a high likelihood of doubling, tripling, quadrupling, because $100 to $500 isn't that crazy. But a Moonbreon going from $3,200 to $6,000, that's insane. Next up, we have the Celebi from, of course, Fusion Strike, one of my favorite sets. Fusion Strike was not loved at first, but many people say that Celebi is their favorite Pokemon, like alt art in general, just period, because it is really a beautiful card. You can see it's growing in these dead trees in this what looks to be a winter landscape. And the really, really cool part, I thought, is that look at this tree. Look at this tree right now, okay? This tree in front of the Celebi V alt art is the same tree from the Zeraora V alt art. As you can see, this tree is dead, it's decaying, it has a huge trunk, and right in front of it, it seems to be a very icy landscape. Now let's go back to the Celebi, an icy landscape, a dying tree with a huge trunk. It is the exact same card. These cards are connecting in ways we can't see. That is insane that I'm discovering these things so long after it's printed. This card came out 4 or 5 years ago. I cannot believe these things. I mean, that's so cool to see. Let's move on. We can see that the Celebi cards are often going for around $270. I think that's a pretty reasonable price for a card that is so beloved. I mean, you can get these weird labels. This is what, I don't know what company this is. It is Mana Grading, and you can get it for $165. Honestly, if it's a really nice copy, I'd pick it up. $200, $220, $250, $229, $280. It's a pretty good price for a card that I think is super, super underrated. Let's move on. Genesect V from Fusion Strike. I love this card so, so much. I think that it is not just underrated, but it is never talked about. No one says, oh, I like Genesect. Oh, I think Genesect's cool. I don't see any PokeTubers say this. All they say is, I like Bubble Mew. I like the new black and white cards. Like, that's really cool, but your opinion isn't unique. I want to see the Genesect V alt art from Fusion Strike and how it's dancing on top of what looks to be a record with a Smeargle in the background. This alt art is only $25. How is that possible, man? How is that even going through my mind? A $25 alt art that looks this beautiful? I can't believe it. The PSA 10, $99. 99 again, 115, 95, 95, 96, 107, 110. This card is like $100 bill. It is an absolute steal. It's an amazing pickup, and I think the pop report's only around 2,000 or 3,000, which means, I mean, there's not many of these out there. It's crazy. Continuing on with Fusion Strike, one of my favorite sets, it is the Mew Vmax alt art. Beautiful card. Beautiful. I mean, it's insane. You have the London background, which has the double-decker buses. It has the phone booth. It looks like a beautiful background. The colors on this are stunning. The pop of the, the red, the little bit of green, a little bit of blue, a little bit of gold on the side. Pokemon really said a little bit of this, a little bit of that card. But this card is beautiful nonetheless. And right now the price is around $130 USD. Pretty good for an alt art, the third best alt art in Fusion Strike, which is the second best set of the entire Sword and Shield era. Let's take a look in PSA 10. PSA 10, 350, 300, 309, 350, 329, 300, 310. Sorry, I meant 299 because this card is going absolutely nothing. It's not going much. It's not really going up and down. It had this little crash. I mean, I feel like this card should be a lot more pricey. I think this is a much better card than the Espeon from Fusion Strike. I think this is on par with the Gengar. And Mew is just as popular. Mew cards are going crazy. The Bubble Mew is going crazy. I do believe this card should be in the limelight more, and I think this is super underrated. Next up, we have Espeon. Now, I want to talk about Espeon because I feel like the PSA 10 is undervalued. As I said, I think that the Mew from Fusion Strike is actually a better looking card, but of course, Evolution takes the highest priority. This card went from almost a $330 card to a $270 card. Now the PSA 10 is going for $550. Now there's around 7,000 of these in the entire PSA 10 pop reports, and prices $550, $604, $589, $600, $600 again, $580, $575, $600 basically for this card. But I want to mention this because I'm going to come back to something later. This card is still pretty underrated in my opinion, but we're going to come back to it in a moment. Now, next up, we have the Regidrago alt art from Silver Tempest, one of my favorite cards in existence. I know, why do you like Regidrago so much? I don't really know. I think this alt art's absolutely beautiful. I like it more than the Lugia from Silver Tempest. That's just my opinion. You can see the Lugia in the background. You can see this like ancient artwork all around it. And of course, Regidrago just sitting down like he's had a long day, like he needs a cup of coffee. I like that personally. You can see it had this kind of spike. I don't know if you call it a spike, from $15 to $17. It's such a cheap card that spikes and dips don't really mean anything for it. But it is so underwhelmingly cheap for a card that should be more expensive. $36! $36 in a PSA 10? The grading cost is more than this. Like, what? These are absolute steals. 85, 65, 60, 60, 51, 62, 60. I mean, this card is astronomically cheap. I cannot believe that you can get it for such a cheap price, and you cannot tell me this isn't going to be a $200, $300, $500 card in the future. I mean, Silver Tempest is already a crazy set. And as I said earlier, the chances of this card going up is much higher than something like a Moonbrown, something like a Giratina or a Rayquaza, because it is such a low price point right now that this going to $300 would not surprise me at all. And I actually mentioned this in a video I made earlier about the second best Pokemon and how they often explode. This is, in my personal opinion, a second best card that will explode in the future, and I talked about this in another video, so you can go check that out. But let's move on. We have the Darkrai Vstar from Crown Zenith, and I actually want to mention that these are technically alt art cards. Many people only consider the Vmax cards alt arts, but I consider the Vstars as well. That's why I mentioned there are 87 of them. Now, the Crown Zenith Darkrai Vstar, this card is absolutely beautiful. You see this door in the background, the moon in the background. It looks like it is washed up on a beach. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can almost see like what looks like rings, shooting stars. This card is absolutely insane, and I can't believe it's not more expensive. The reason it's not more expensive is because there's so many in existence. The pop report is crazy. Now, this card is going for around $30 right now, which I think is an absolute steal. I mean, you can't tell me you're not going to pick up one of these cards for your collection or for your investing purposes. I mean, it's just so cheap that you might as well. And a PSA 10, look, $115, $100, $81, $118. I feel like any PSA 10 of a card that is beautiful, that is $100, $120, or around that range, I mean, you've got to start picking them up because soon they're going to be $300, $400, $500, and you're going to blink and it's going to be like that. So, I mean, it's just such a no-brainer. Next up, Suicune V from Crown Zenith. We have a couple Crown Zenith cards coming up because I think they're super underrated, but this Crown Zenith Suicune is going for around $30. And again, it is super cheap. The PSA 10, let's look over here. We have the tag at 120. I don't know why tag is selling for more than PSA, but PSA is going for 109, 128, 118, 113, 115, 115. It is going for an insanely low price. Let's be honest here. This is a beautiful card. I think the pop report is around 8,000, which means there aren't a ton of them in existence. Yes, that's very true, but it is still a beautiful card, and I'm not taking away from the fact that it is an insanely gorgeous card that doesn't get enough love. It is beautiful. The mountains are in the background. It almost has the same kind of moon starlight as the actual Darkrai, which I think is really, really cool. If you look back at the Darkrai, you can see there are these like kind of shooting stars in the background. You can see that over here. We go back to the Suicune, it's the same shooting stars. So all these things could be taking place at the exact same time. And it's, again, crazy. Noticing new things every single day with these cards. Now we have the Leafeon from Crown Zenith. I promise this is our last Crown Zenith card and the last card of the video, but this card is absolutely beautiful. Now, you can't tell me an evolution from Crown Zenith, one of the best sets in Pokemon's history, will not go crazy one day. Currently, it's $43, and it's had some very weird ups and downs. I mean, it really doesn't change much, but in the one-year graphic, you see this card has risen so much, 51% in just 1 year, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's an amazing card. You can see it's dipping its tail in this pot of like water. That is so funny to think that the artist actually drew that with that intention in mind. And again, the PSA 10 is so cheap. 113, 115, 119, 110, 114, 100, 115, 100 again. I mean, it is such a great price for a card that looks so beautiful. That is honestly such an amazing card in your collection. Who doesn't want a Leafeon Vstar Alt Art PSA 10 for only $100? That's like, what, 4 hours of work? That is barely more than $100 a Benjamin. I mean, I would 100% pick up these cards if I were you. And finally, the reason I had the Esper on the list is because I want to compare to the Dragonite V Alt Art from Evolving Skies. Now, I think this card is really, really overvalued. You can see it sold from Z&G Emporium for $760. Best offer accepted at $950, $780. You can see $799, $713, $698. But I do feel like this card is very overvalued. But let's take a look. This card, $760 compared to the other cards on our list. Let's take in the Leafeon. I mean, super underrated. The Suicune, super underrated. The Darkrai, again, in the same boat. We have Regidrago, which is like criminally just underrated. Again, the Espeon doesn't look so bad when compared to this Dragonite. $760 compared to what? $550 card, $600 card out of an evolution from Fusion Strike, the top. I mean, it's the best of the best, so I can't believe it's at this price. Other cards comparable. I mean, the $350 or $300 price tag on Mew doesn't look so crazy when it's compared with the $760 or what, $980 best offer of the Dragonite V. So that's the point of this video. I want to tell you that there are still some great alt arts from the Sword and Shield era that you should be putting your money into, whether it's investing or collecting. These cards are absolutely perfect and super undervalued. So that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know other cards you feel are undervalued, what I should cover next, and just any opinions you have in the comment section below. I hope you have an amazing day and amazing week. Peace!